Hey, so today we're talking about sales balls and specifically that need sales ball. This is what I talk about as FIIT, F-I-I-T. So we're going to define what FIIT is, the questions you can ask to understand where you are relative to FIIT so that you can start building that beautiful value proposition as well as understand the decision-making process. Let's get to it. The other less sneaky version is making sure that you really do understand for each of your clients every year what those funded mandates are, the implications, the insufficient resources, and the timeline for impact. So things like, if you aren't currently meeting with your clients at least once a year on their 2025 plan, for example, what are some of their organizational priorities? What are some of the implications of that for some of the things that we do, right? What are, you're not listening for this is how this is going to help you do that. You're listening for what do they need to get accomplished? Why is that hard for them? Why can't they do it as well today as they'd like? Or even with a solution like ours, what do they need to be able to show or tell internally to show impact on something? What's either the cost of the problem, or if they're already working with us, what is the cost of moving away from working with us, right? Where do they need some sort of impact? And then what's the timing upon which they have to show this, right? So you might have a renewal date, but ideally the paperwork for that is 3 months out, that's gone 3 months before the renewal date. Ideally, by 6 months before the renewal date, whether or not they're renewing, right? And so the conversations that you're having from, the third month essentially until 6 months before there should be an element of understanding how we're performing, right? It's almost like a constant opportunity to get a great assessment of how things are going, where there's an opportunity, what are you experiencing? How are you finding things? If you had the decision to renew right now, what would you do? Who would be involved in that, right? And so those are some of those conversations that are a little uncomfortable, but then they're not as scary later when you get blindsided. So here's what we're going to do. That conversation should ping pong, right? And Gong would tell us, based on successful client interactions, that the client who talks 56% of the time, 44% of the time, and us 56% of the time, is much more likely to purchase and renew. So we want to get as much feedback from them as possible. This is a client call here. It's actually on the probably Rachel's, even though it's blinded here. What I'm drawing your attention to here is that if you look at the number up top, it looks great, right? 56% of the time, I just told you, is how much we should be talking. 44% is how much they should be talking. But here's the problem. It's 55 plus 22. So 77% of the time we spoke. And if you look at where the client is speaking, it's like little bits for, these are all little blips on the radar. These are questions like, is that interesting? Cool, huh? What do you think about this? And they might say, oh yeah, that's good, right? So that's not really engaging. That's definitely not a ping pong match, right? So we want to make sure that there is a lot of back and forth, and particularly when there's a group call, that these red numbers line up to be 44% and these purple numbers line up to be 56%. I know that you all don't use Gong specifically, you have other recording technology, but same idea, right? That it's more back and forth. If you've made it all the way through to this part of the recording, you are either a sales pro, a sales enablement pro, or certainly on your way to being. For more tips and tricks like this, follow me on my LinkedIn page, or you can like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel, or both. Find me at Toying with This Idea. If you need coaching, whether it's for you as an individual or for your team, as well as things like training, tools, talk tracks, tech optimization, any of the things that are going to support your go-to-market effectiveness, you can also find me on LinkedIn or reach out to me via my website, Toying with This Idea. Get out there, go crush it, have fun.